City creation and city creation basically are discussing. Another topic that's India account, Amazon account, and after 2 days basically a big earthquake is going to come to India. So that is the topic basically which we are discussing. In this, one of the person told that there are 3 lakh power supply in this land. Basically. They are actually giving the power supply to whole world. So one person basically asked the question. Very less basically this happens that, for example, India basically might be getting power supply related to vegetables. He might be getting power supply related to vegetables from America land. Europe group basically might be getting the vegetables power supply from Italy land. Italy group might be getting power supply from the Russia land. So like this basically the power supply chain basically might be segregated. That possibilities are there. Why? Because the climate of each and every countries are totally different. The land area is different. If climate is changed, that means the route is basically changed. That is the land surface. So if climate is going to change, that means the route of the land also be also basically supposed to change. Like this, basically, for one example, basically one of the person told that we can basically directly just set the environment of the area. That would be not okay, basically. Then one of the person told that that is not possible because the blood which is getting created, that is on the base of the land only, basically. That is on the base of land, basically. That is on the base of land. That is on the base of land. So that is on the base. So mostly basically possibilities are there that all power supply of human needs basically or all country basically might be segregated. For this basically lots of people says that Asia land is created. So for Asia land, the Asian vegetables are getting power supply from that. So why basically they segregated Asia land? European land, American land, South African land. Like this basically they have segregated. Eh? So possibilities are this basically. So that the it can be remembered. Basically. It can be remembered. Basically. So due to that basically the possibilities are there. Due to that basically the possibilities are there. So one of the person told that possibilities are basically there. And possibilities are always correct only. Whatever possibilities you check, that is correct only. So suddenly, basically, one of the universe person passed the satellite, and he basically passed from internet data. Basically, internet data means the whole world basically is getting internet data. Whole world is basically getting the power supply data of computer. Basically, from that basically he passed and asked. Sunil, basically, you got the job, you got the marriage, you got the second marriage, you basically become the father. Then answer basically was still no. And immediately basically he told okay and he left. And in previous video basically we told that basically what India like. Then one of the person to Sunil Arnar basically thought little bit. He basically sang one song. Then basically he told that basically the India likes his cricket. Then basically he told okay. And then also basically that another person also basically left. So two questions basically asked by different areas. One area was power supply area. Second area was internet area basically. So from both area basically, they left. And the second time, basically, when they are going to come, they are going to ask same question only. So that will be the time machine basically, when they are going to ask. Two questions basically asked. One person basically asked what India likes. Another is basically Sunil Arnar basically got job. He basically got marriage. He basically go become the father, and he started his journey or not. So two questions basically asked, and this was connected to India land. Basically. So second time basically when they are going to come, that will be going to connect second time in India land. So one person told that basically what is basically this? This is the matrix basically. This is the matrix that we are going to see later on basically. Few people basically say that yeah, few people basically are that type of people also basically they say that basically India is Sunil is not supposed to get a job. That type of people also basically they are in satellite. So one of the person told that you are not getting job. That means in India basically the problem is in Vadodara land is the problem. The Vadodara land basically is creating problem to you. So that is the problem. So you have to solve like that only. So Vadodara land basically is creating problem. Previously, when basically you visited Mumbai, that time Mumbai land was creating problem. When basically you visited Bangalore, the Bangalore land basically was creating problem. So India land basically is creating problem to Sunil Arma. That is the problem. That means India power supply basically. One of the person basically asked the question. I think it is connected with the power supply of India land. Basically. So do you know basically from where the India land power supply is coming, and that land basically is connected to which satellite? So Sunil Arna told that basically how basically we can give the exact information. So this is one of the person basically or doctor basically given one example. Uh, he basically given one medical example. One person told that, do you know basically each and every states basically medical department are totally different. Then basically Sunil Arnair basically told that how basically. Then he explained. Assume that basically one Odisha doctor basically do the Nasbandi of one person. Nasbandi of one person. So how they do? So that they do in different ways. So that basically nobody can able to track. That is Nasbandi has done. Then if Gujarat doctor basically they do the Nasbandi, then their techniques are totally different. So styles basically are totally different. So one person told that each and every state basically they do the Nasbandi of each and every people. Their style basically are totally different. So from that basically you can track that basically this Nasbandi was done by this person, and if the Nasbandi person basically who says whose Nasbandi has done, if he is a critical person, then they basically immediately leave the India only. But that is going to affect to state basically, and that is going to affect to that land also basically where the Nasbandi has done. Because few people are connected directly with satellite group basically, and that land is going to suffer for long life basically. So one of the person told that how basically you can say that basically this generation basically and was done by this state. Then he told that basically need to check here because the government are connected with the states, and each state are connected with the central government. So they basically decides whose generation has to end and whose generation is not supposed to end. So that topic basically we are going to discuss later on. So first basically power supply India land is getting. So one of the person told that how basically you can say that one person basically asked the question. The 850 power supply basically you are getting of the India computer basically that is getting from the Canada land basically. Is it the rule basically like that basically the India land basically whatever power supply they get they are supposed to get from outside India. There might be certain rules and regulations. Why? Because under the land basically there are many tectonic plates. Here, tectonic plates play the role. In earthquake, basically, the techniques are different. But here, the power supply, which is giving by one state to another state and one country to another country, the tectonic plates play a main role, basically. Because the power supply is not giving to the entire land, basically. They are just giving the power supply to particular tectonic plates. And that tectonic plates basically is giving power supply to entire land, basically. That is one possibility. Another possibility is the entire land visit, but that is very risky. So this kind of risk basically nobody takes. But mostly possibilities are of tectonic plates only. Possibilities are of tectonic plates. No other basically possibilities are there. No other possibilities of tectonic plates are. No other possibilities of tectonic plates are. No other possibilities of tectonic plates are. So one person told that the tectonic plates equal to power supply of land basically. If I say like that, then it would be okay. Or the tectonic plates are power supply basically. Because you can't say 100%. Earth planet people basically can only guess only basically. The universe group only basically can give the exact result basically. That exactly power supply basically is coming from where, because they will never give the power supply to one area. Sometimes basically they give the power supply to land, sometimes basically they give a power supply to the tectonic plate, sometimes basically they give power supply to the sea water basically under the land basically. They keeps on changing the power supply data, and that's very dangerous also. Why? Because nobody is supposed to track that basically from where the power supply are coming to the land from satellite basically. And the lava department basically they are creating the lava data that are different. So tectonic plates are getting created. That also you can say. Tectonic plates also basically can is getting created. That also basically you can say. So one person told that basically in Vadodara basically Sunil you are staying right basically. In Vadodara basically you are staying. In Gujarat basically. In India land basically you are staying. So in Vadodara land basically how many tectonic plates are there here? That you know basically Sunil R. Nair. From satellite basically one of the person basically asked the question basically. There was no answer for Sunil Arnair basically. But he told that basically we are getting the power supply basically. Because entire city is having the power supply. Entire city is basically getting the power supply. That means one of the person basically asked the question. Entire city is basically power getting power supply. That means their land basically is connected with power supply. That is not possible. So reason power supply is getting to from other land. Basically. Is coming from the other land. And then basically the land of Vadodara city is getting the power supply. So you can just imagine basically the land of Vadodara city, na, how it is stable. Land is stable. Land is not becoming sand basically. Sand is becoming land. How basically? That one of the person basically asked the question that how sand basically of Vadodara city basically is becoming land basically. From where? Which power basically they are getting it? Basically? What is the power supply basically? They are getting the data. So there was no answer. Why? Because this is a very critical thing basically, because this type of data only are passed from the satellite group. Only satellite group basically can pass this type of answer. So one of the person told that in this world basically how many what is the land size, and if that land basically will convert into sand basically, so what will be the sand size, and how many sand is basically required to create the land. So there was no answer basically. Why? Because this type of data basically only satellite group basically handle. One of the person told us, do you think basically this is possible basically? The thing basically which I am discussing basically in Vadodara city, the sand basically is getting converted to land on the base of power supply which is getting passed, and that power supply can be in the underwater of the Vadodara city, and it might possible that it might be passing the power supply to Vadodara tectonic plates, or basically it might possible that it might be getting passed to the Vadodara sand basically. So you can't say. One of the person basically asked the question, do you know basically today basically that is 15th May 2014 basically 9:37 p.m. basically, sorry, 9:37 a.m. basically, at which area basically the power supply is getting passed? Is it to the land, is it to the sand, or is it basically the sea water under the Vadodara city? Do basically anybody have the answer basically of this? Because this is handling the Vadodara city. This data is handling the entire Vadodara city. Lots of people say that tectonic plates तो यहाँ वडोदरा में है नहीं. Tectonic plates is not in Vadodara. So possibilities are there basically that Vadodara city might not be getting the power supply from tectonic plates. But one person told that tectonic plates that are there in Gujarat in somewhere. So it might possible that in the tectonic plates basically the power supply might be getting passed, and entire Gujarat might be getting the power supply data. That possibilities are also there, because you can't ignore a single possibilities. You can't ignore a single possibilities. One of the person told that from where currently basically where basically the power supply is getting passed here. Can you please give the answer basically? Nobody, no government department also basically might not be having answer. But this is the main basically. Because on the base of this only, the earthquake connects. The connection of earthquake basically connects on this only basically. So one of the person told that basically data we don't have basically, but we never heard this type of thing also basically, that you are telling that basically Vadodara tectonic plates are basically giving the power supply to Vadodara. That is not possible here basically. How basically tectonic plates are where basically in Vadodara land basically tectonic plates are where basically. So from there, basically, you want to say the entire Vadodara, entire Gujarat basically is getting the power supply. Sorry, the entire entire Gujarat land basically is getting the power supply. You want to say that directly? Then one of the person does that, yes, basically. Like this only, basically, I can say. But possibilities are very less. But chances are there, basically, too much of this, basically. Chances are this, basically, of too much, basically. Chances of this, basically, are too much. So one person told that let basically search where basically Gujarat is having tectonic plates. So just a minute, I will just search this. It's a Indo-Australian tectonic plates. So let's basically search this. So it's Indo-Australian tectonic plate side under the Eurasian tectonic plates. Basically. So there are many tectonic plates. Basically. So it's a segregation basically. So mostly power supply are getting from this only. Mostly chances are there basically. 95% chances are there, but 100% we can't say. Why? Because sometimes basically the data gets shift to sea water also, and sometimes basically directly connects to sand also. But that are very dangerous basically. So mostly basically tectonic plates are the way basically to pass the. So Vadodara is getting power supply from which plate? That is this Indo-Australian tectonic plates under Eurasian plate. Under Eurasian plate basically. That is European also basically you can say, but uranium basically is a Eurasian basically is the name basically. But you can't say basically Eurasian means it might possible that European and Russian group basically combination, and in that basically some American group also basically might have joined, because India is having software company also. So American basically is connected with the software group. So they also might be passing the data to tectonic plates, and the name basically might have given like this. That is this. The Australian tectonic plates side under the Eurasian plates. That is this. Indo-Australian tectonic plates under side Eurasian plates. Eurasian plates basically. So possibilities are of this basically too much. So one person basically asked the question, where is basically Mumbai land basically? So Maharashtrian basically we will connect to Maharashtra. Yes. So this is the land basically. India basically Mumbai is getting. This is basically Google's answer basically. Yeah. This is actually Google answer. Whatever Google is telling, that basically we are writing. So that is this. Indian plates from Madagascar in the Jurassic lower. So Madagascar basically is the tectonic plates also. And it might possible that it also might be connected with some other tectonic plates also. Because you can't say 100%. You can't say 100% that this is the only tectonic plates, because you can't say anything. One of the person with the मतलब ये जो India whatever tectonic plates basically is in India, it can be moved to Australia also basically, it can be moved to USA also. That is possibilities are there. That basically it's very dangerous basically. You are asking basically very dangerous question basically. Up to that level flexibility, the tectonic plates might able to create basically, because sometimes basically they have to create something like this, but that's very difficult basically. Currently earth planet people basically might not have reached up to this level basically. But before earth planet they do the process basically, the universe group basically do the process, so they might have started the process and they might have done that also basically. Thus handover basically might be the question basically. So one of the person doing that, yeah. So Maharashtra basically is getting tectonic plates. Gujarat is getting tectonic plates. So one tectonic plates basically gets power supply from one area. So tectonic plates, power supply also you can say. These possibilities are more basically. Why? Because power supply are very dangerous basically. So these possibilities are two. That is 95 percentage power supply basically Vadodara city gets. That is tectonic plate. Indo-Australian tectonic. So that possibilities are there. Basically. But 4 to 5 percentage basically they basically have kept it to sand also and sometimes to sea water also because under Vadodara city basically the sea water is basically flowing. If you dig the Vadodara city, you will get the sea water basically. That are basically those water which has converted, which basically the lava land has been converted to water basically, and then how basically it has converted that we have already discussed. So that possibilities are also there, basically. But more possibilities are tectonic plates, which is not connected with the earthquake. But earthquake possibilities are one is energies which are above the earth planet, and another possibilities are the tectonic plates. So because power supply is connected to that tectonic plates. Basically. So here possibilities are there basically. So these possibilities are too much basically. So these possibilities are too much basically. So one other person told that yes, these possibilities are there basically. So one other person he was passing through I Galaxy. He basically asked the question, Sunil, basically you got the job, you basically got the second marriage, you basically got, you basically become the father, and then basically you started your generation. Then Sunil Larna basically told that no, basically, yet basically I was not able to start my generation and basically I had not got the job also. Then basically immediately he left from iGalaxy. So again back to the power supply. That is a tectonic plates basically which are giving the power supply. So one person basically asked the question, mostly the tectonic plates are connected with the power supply. Mostly basically. Because this is the easiest way to pass the power supply to the land. Basically. Because Vadodara is also giving power supply to another land. Basically. That's why. Vadodara is also giving power supply to another land. Is Vadodara is also giving power supply to different land. That means Vadodara is also getting power supply from different land. Because you are having the human needs of America also. America means software companies are of America. So you are getting power supply of America also. You are eating pizzas and pizzas basically are of European group basically. So you should get the power supply basically. So they are also passing the power supply. So they all basically passes the power supply through tectonic plates. This is the only way basically. One of the person basically asked the question. And possibilities are these only. No other possibilities are there basically. So this possibility is too much basically. This possibilities is too much basically. So one person told that this is the only possibilities that this is the only possibilities that Vadodara land might be getting the power supply from the tectonic plates. And Vadodara land is basically creating problem to you. They are basically not giving the job to you. Basically. That possibilities are basically too much. Basically. That possibilities are too much. Basically. So in next video, basically, we are going to see a little bit more about this topic. That is the 3 lakh land area, basically, which is giving the power supply to India land also. And in India land, basically, there are more than many tectonic plates, basically, which are getting power supply. And on the base of that tectonic plates, basically, the power supply is getting passed to the India land. So in next video, basically, we are going to see a little bit more about this topic.